Hello, everybody, and welcome to the RSN Wrestling Podcast. This is the first edition of the Shoot edition of 2017. The first shoot that we have. Basically, it's a bi-weekly series that we do where we talk about everything going on in wrestling, rumor mill stuff, pretty much everything going on, reviewing, all that stuff. Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, ECW. I obviously know ECW, though. I pretty much botched that right now. But yeah, botches, everything like that.
All kinds of ECW though.
Yeah, we cover ECW though. I mean, of course, CZW. Pretty much all kinds of promotions, all the big things that are going on in the wrestling industry, and all that stuff.
Here's a question for you though.
Yeah.
Do we cover independent companies such as America's Most Liked Wrestling and West Coast Wrestling Connection?
Oh no, unfortunately we do not. But there's actually.
Do you know someone who does?
Well, yes. I think we do, right? But who is it?
I can't. Who? It's not
wait.
you.
It's not us. It's not us for sure. It's not me. It's not you, right?
It's not
you run the
you either.
rumors, right? You run the rumors, right?
Yes, I run the Twitter page. You run the YouTube page. But there's one other page that we always forget.
Yes. There's always one other page.
Oh, I know what it's called.
Right, I know what it is too right now. I think I got it.
It's a Pro Wrestling Opinion.
PWO. Just like it's Pro Wrestling Opinion, run by, I think we know the guy, right?
It's not
It's not generic.
It's not Jake Lopez.
Nick Lopez. It's a guy that has glasses. He knows a lot about the wrestling industry. He tends to blabber a lot. But we're not. We're not talking about
Jim Cornette. It's not him.
No, it's not. No.
And I actually have a bone to pick with him later in the show.
Oh, really? I want to see this. Let's do this. And then, of course, who we're talking about.
But the guy who runs Pro Wrestling Opinion, it's not Jake Lopez.
No, it's not Jake Lopez. It's not Jake Lopez or like that. It's not even Marie.
Oh, it's Nick Lopez.
Nick Lopez. Not not Nick Lopez. It's the Nick Lopez.
I apologize. I forgot the.
Yes.
Sorry, Nick. Do not sue me.
It's always gotta say that. It's the Nick Lopez.
Don't sue me like
what's the actual
people.
What's his actual his catchphrase? It was the night that runs the site.
The night that runs the site.
Yep. So that's another one right there. Pretty much the guy, you go on that site, you'll be able to get all the connections, pretty much all the different promotions, AML, Wrestling Live, West Coast Wrestling Connection, Lucha Underground, TNA, WWE, everything that's pretty much all WWE and wrestling industry. He covers it in depth.
I think he does. I know he does the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. I'm not sure if he does the 70s though.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
I'm not too sure.
Yeah, like I said, and I mean,
you know what? Why don't you go look at the site and check it out when you're not listening to our shows?
Indeed. And I mean, another thing also, you can find all of our previous podcasts on the website as well. It's Pro Wrestling.
As Women of Wrestling, the Rise and Fall of WCW, Rise and Fall of ECW, any of our topics.
The whole 9 yards. You can name it. We got it there. And like I said, we're still expanding. Speaking of expanding, Rich, I think we had our promo, right? I think you've seen it, right? You've probably seen it many times. I've always seen it all the time.
You sent it into the Facebook group chat of me, you, and Nick. I've watched it so many times.
Me too. I've been watching it all the time. And one thing stands out to me. Like we said, this is 2017. We're not here to just be another wrestling podcast. We're here to knock down the world, the door.
We're not here to knock on the door. We're here to kick that motherfucking door down.
We're here to knock that shit off its hinges. That's what's gonna happen. Right. I remember now. Right. So, like I said, we're RSN Wrestling Podcast. We're gonna keep continuing to expand. Things are gonna happen. Things are gonna change. We're gonna keep on going another way.
We're not gonna change that. Me, you, and Nick. We're not changing.
We're not changing. Not at all. No. We're not. We're still staying strong. We're still here providing news. We're not charging you $9.99 for a service. We're not here to go ahead and put up like regular news bulletins and everything like that, and make our wrestling promotion and do all this crazy stuff. We're just here, three guys that have a passion for wrestling and doing this for you, the fans.
Well, being the fact this is the first show of 2017, we might have new fans. So let's properly introduce ourselves and what we do with the show.
Indeed. I want you to go first because you're the R, the R of RSN Wrestling Podcast.
Yes. My name is Rich, nicknamed the Big Guy. And if you listen to the previous podcast from a few weeks ago, I have to mention it, even though you mentioned it. I am now engaged. So
Yeah, that's what's up.
that is basically about me. Since you're S, introduce yourself.
Yes, yes. So, I mean, in addition, Rich, you said that you run the Twitter page, right, for RSN also, right? And what do you cover on that page?
Basically, on the Twitter page, I cover breaking news before it actually hits mainstream websites such as WWE, TNA, ROH, anything like that.
Basically, you get the first news before anyone else, right?
Basically, you could say I am better than TMZ. I am better than Dave Meltzer. I'm better than anyone.
And right, that's right, that's right. You can go on that. I think Twitter handle is at RSN Podcast, right?
Correct.
Definitely check that out. That's one thing. By the way, my name is Sal.
Sorry to cut you off, but just to
Yep.
show an example, I called a few things before they actually happened, such as Cody Rhodes going to New Japan, Cody Rhodes going to ROH, Cody Rhodes becoming the newest member of the Bullet Club, and he is technically the unnamed new leader of the Bullet Club. I called that about a month before it actually happened.
Indeed. I mean, we're going to be getting to Cody Rhodes and possibly something recent that happened that everybody's been catching their eye.
Oh,
But yeah,
I was just giving an example of how good I am compared to
yep,
other wrestling sites.
that's true. That's true. I mean, you actually get the information before it even hits, though. That's one thing. But it's like I said, we got Rich on the side, and it's a good thing to keep following. You can follow it, and on your Twitter feed, you're going to see it. And of course, there's always people, you know, giving responses saying, "Oh, no, this is that, this is that." But of course, so is whatever the time comes, you're always going to look back and say, "Damn, he was right." But that's something. But nonetheless, my name is Sal. I'm basically they call me the mastermind. Rich is the big guy. He's the guy that, of course, has all the rumors, goes inside WWE HQ archives and finds all the information, all that stuff, and leaks it out. Of course, yeah. But basically, I'm the guy that runs the YouTube page. Basically, we co-run the Facebook page that we have there also on our Wrestling Podcast, and also our SoundCloud and everything like that. But pretty much, there's a lot going on in the wrestling industry, and it's too much for one guy to handle. Wouldn't you agree on that?
Big time.
And that's why we got Rich running the site for Twitter. Basically, what's going on right now. We got us, all three of us, running the YouTube and the Facebook pages just to go ahead and run up what's going on, everything like that, posting up updates. And then we got Nick.
And you also see random things that me and you post on Facebook, just like
Mhm.
random pictures, random articles, just because.
Yep, just anything that comes in the wrestling industry, the interesting things and all that stuff. But nonetheless, this is a whole package deal you're getting. But nonetheless, it's pretty crazy, to see that. But let me ask you this: it's already, I think, what this is at the time we're shooting is pretty much almost what is it, the 18th?
Yeah, we're
2 days from now. Yeah, I mean 2 days from now. Can you believe this? A WWE Hall of Famer will be president.
the first president to ever get a stunner from Stone Cold Steve
Yeah.
Austin.
Right, right. Well, there's one thing. Before we get in, we're not a political podcast. We don't have any kind of political agendas. But what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on Donald Trump and WWE making this whole big deal that, oh, he's a Hall of Famer, and he's on our Hall of Fame, and now he's becoming the president. What are your thoughts on
My personal opinion, I am not really for the celebrity into the Hall of Fame.
that? Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the celebrities in the Hall of Fame, they really didn't do nothing.
That's right. I think it's just a minor contribution, and they just have this kind of stigma that, oh, they can bring a big influence, but it's like, how much of an influence is that?
Yeah, there's a couple celebrities who deserve to be in. Like Mr. T, he actually fought at 2 WrestleManias.
But I mean, specifically Trump. I mean, what could he really be known for? I mean, I guess probably WrestleMania, putting in the Trump Palace. Um, things like WrestleMania 23, where he shaved Vince McMahon's head bald and got stunned
That
by
was
Stone
it.
Cold Steve
That's
Austin. I
all
mean,
he did. He didn't
yep,
even do nothing. He was outside the ring supporting Bobby Lashley.
yep. And I think it's just a stigma that, oh, celebrities equals ratings equals money. And it's like, really? Are you serious? I don't know if you remember that one time, I think in 2007 or 2008, where the fans were chanting TNA, where of course they were having their whole thing, and then next thing you know, in the ring, it was a parody of Rosie O'Donnell versus Donald Trump.
Yes, I remember that.
Did you see that?
That was horrible.
And the whole crowd was chanting BKM, BKM, TNA, TNA.
That's the only time you'll ever hear TNA spoken about at a WWE event.
And it's crazy. It's like, come on. Who do you think had the bright idea of doing that?
Bucktooth beaver looking motherfucker.
Spot on, right in the fucking head, of course. It's always this buck-tooth motherfucking beaver-looking bitch that wants to go ahead and say, oh, we should have a bunch of celebrities in WWE. That's going to work, you know? Like, what the fuck? Come on. Now, who wants to see celebrities in WWE? It makes no sense, you know?
I give you one person who doesn't.
Who's that?
I don't.
I don't either. Oh, shit. We agree. I guess the rest of the whole wrestling world.
Unless it's something that actually will work. Unless it's a celebrity that actually can make something work.
That's true. That's true. But, I mean, nonetheless, you know, Donald Trump taking office. Good for you, Trump. But, you know.
Now back to stuff that matters. Wrestling. Yep. Let's go.
Indeed. Well, I want you to elaborate. I know you were very excited about talking about this. Wrestle Kingdom 11. Their big event.
Oh, my God. The best fucking pay-per-view I've probably ever seen in my life.
I was watching it at 3 in the morning. That's when it came on here. And I was watching it, and literally, I think I had work the next day. I said, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just watch it. I'll see a little bit of it. Maybe it won't be interesting. Maybe it will. I see probably the first 3 matches, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow. And it took me, I think, I didn't go to sleep until, like, I think 6. And I was watching the whole pay-per-view. And after I had to wake up the next morning at 9. So I only had 3 hours of sleep. But I was still, like, ecstatic watching. I actually want to watch
Here's a question for you, though. Was it worth it?
It was definitely worth it.
It was a great pay-per-view. It was a great pay-per-view.
It was a great event, indeed. I mean, of course, they had like that whole thing with the tiger mask, where they had like a whole anime thing and everything. That was interesting, I think. I mean, recently I started like, you know, just watching anime here and there, like, you know, seeing shit.
To me, the worst match on the card was probably the Battle Royal.
Yeah. I heard a lot about that. I mean, I didn't get a chance to watch the Battle Royal. I think I just saw, a tag match, the tiger mask match, and I think what else?
Which tag match? The Gorillas of the God?
I think the one with the Chaos, yeah.
Okay.
But it's like, you know, it was pretty interesting to see all that. You know, the way the spots were, everything like that.
Cody's match was good.
Cody performed phenomenally against CJ Parker, nonetheless. That's a pretty good, you know, deal too.
Juice Robinson.
Oh, Juice Robinson, right. There's no CJ Parker anymore, right?
Nope.
But still, it's pretty interesting.
The Gorillas of Destiny had a good tag team match.
Yep. And what's really surprising, you see all the title changes that happened? It's crazy.
Yeah.
I never expected that many title changes in one night. That was pretty interesting.
Just the first match on the actual card was better than so many WWE matches in the year so far.
I agree. I think some of the matches make match of the year candidates already. But I mean, did you guys?
Without a doubt, the Gorillas of Destiny match. Mm-hmm. That's hands down the most cursing I ever heard in a match.
That's right. I mean, it was pretty interesting to see everything alive, uncensored, uncut. Everything. It was perfect. I loved it. But
you could go on YouTube and just type in Wrestle Kingdom 11 Gorillas of Destiny, and it's like every other word was a curse.
Yeah.
You piece of shit. Fuck you. You hit like a pussy. I'm like, this will never happen in WWE.
Never. WWE would never let that happen. It's crazy. And it's like, wow. And I mean, here's one thing too. That whole night was a success because of the fans. No lie. And that's not trying to kiss anyone's ass or nothing like that.
The fans made it even better.
The fans, like, if you see fans and they go to a live event and they're cheering and booing for the right people or doing anything, like, whatever, that's interesting. That's fun. You know, it's a good thing to be part of.
Will Ospreay had a great match also.
Ricochet also. I think both of them had perfect performances.
Even though we've seen them fight that match that was killing wrestling.
Yeah, supposedly by big names in the wrestling industry. But there's a whole. I mean, of course. What about for example, Naito versus Hiroshi Tanahashi? I think that was phenomenal too.
It was. That was definitely match of the night candidate.
That
But there's
definitely
one
was.
match.
Yes, yes. One particular match that I think in your words you said this. It's a 6 out of 5 stars, which
Yes.
is very rare, right?
This is the only match that has ever gotten a 6-star rating.
It's crazy. That match had a lot of spots. They told a story. That's what I liked about it. They told a story throughout
And
the
not
whole
even
match.
that. It was like you know how they built up Cena versus Rock for one
Yeah.
year,
Right.
and then they built it up for a second year.
Right.
This match between Kenny Omega
Hmm.
and the Rainmaker Okada
Yep.
had one full year build up.
Yep.
And it wasn't like The Rock and Cena where it was fucking video promos.
Yeah. It wasn't like all
No,
lights
it
and
was
glamour.
in
Yeah.
person going back and forth for a full year since Wrestle Kingdom 10.
Yep.
It
And I
was
think, yeah, you could tell the whole story, like with G1, the G1 Grand Prix. What else? Like a whole bunch of tag matches. The whole story between where Kenny Omega won, I think, Intercontinental title and a tag title and a 6-man tag title in one year, and the build up between Okada becoming Japan superstar and all that stuff. They had parallels, but at the same time, they had that intersection, and it was perfect.
it was a great match when even WWE superstars were tweeting about it.
Yep. All the top stars were tweeting about it, saying, great show, da da da,
Bailey
this, that.
tweeted, Sasha Banks tweeted, Gallows tweeted, Anderson tweeted, Styles tweeted.
Hmm. It's interesting if you look
Everyone,
at it. Yeah. And I mean, speaking of
ev-
WWE watching other events too, what about UFC? UFC had their show also, I think.
well, there's going back to what we said before about Omega and Okada.
Yeah.
There's one person. If you go back about 5-10 minutes into the show
Oh,
that we're
uh-huh.
doing now,
Right.
there's one person I have a bone to pick with.
Go ahead, shoot. You're ready to aim and fire. It's all you.
Jim Jim Cornette. You fucking prick. How dare you talk shit about Kenny Omega saying he's killing wrestling? He should have never been a professional wrestler. This guy is fucking amazing. WWE dropped the ball with him. I was listening to, I think it was Talk is Jericho. Shout out to Chris Jericho, by the way. Great show. Love you. I had to throw that little plug in there for Talk is Jericho, just so you know. So thank you. You're welcome, Jericho. Omega said he was in WWE developmental in about probably 6 years ago. I think he said. They didn't know how to use him. They were going to use him as a complete jobber, such as Darren Young is now. He said, no, I'm going to take my talents to Japan and become the biggest star. And where is he now? He put on a 6-star match. No one in WWE could put on a 6-star match.
Well, here's one
So,
thing too. Yeah, you
so,
nailed it on the head.
so fuck you, Jim Cornette.
Yeah. I mean, well, here's one thing too.
That's my
Has
rant.
any
Rant over.
Well, here's one thing too. You put her on the spot. Jim Cornette said a whole bunch of words saying, how Kenny Omega this, Kenny Omega that. He's not, he didn't do this. That match sucked. This, that. Well, here's one thing. Has any other star transcended like Kenny Omega? Not only in the eyes of like the whole world of wrestling, like all the world wrestling fans, but just in Japan. I don't think you can say any other name. Any other foreigner, anybody from aside from Japan or going to WWE or anything like that. Has anyone else transcended like in popularity compared to any other star that is not Japanese?
I think it's not even popular because remember, he's a heel.
Yeah, and he's a
But he's
heel.
getting pop.
Yeah.
He's that good of a heel that the fans love him as a face.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's one thing too. Look at his build-up. He started out in Japan. Of course, he started out in American wrestling and everything like that. Started in the indie scene. Wasn't getting anywhere. He started going out and saying, you know what, I'm gonna go to Japan. Went to Japan, made that big sacrifice of, okay, this is a total new territory. I don't know what to do.
He said he didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, and here's one thing: you're in a dojo. You're basically staying there. This is a foreign country. You don't know anything.
And
You
mind
can't
you,
speak
if you
Japanese.
go to
Yeah,
Japan, you have to be a young boy. He was
yeah,
never a young boy.
yeah. That's one thing too. I mean, of course, he had his training and everything. But here's one thing: it's a sacrifice to leave your home and go to a foreign country. And nonetheless, he couldn't speak English. I mean, he couldn't speak Japanese. Nothing. He had a whole language barrier for a couple of years. And then at some
He
point,
said he
he said,
learned Japanese in 8 months. I think he said.
yeah. And I think he said he was. This is the documentary. He was talking about how like it was hard for him to adjust, but at some point he got to he got to do it. And what he did, instead of like these other wrestlers where were walking around with interpreters and everything, he learned Japanese and tried to incorporate it into his life. He started watching all the animes. He started watching all the other stuff. Started incorporating that into his life and try to get more interested in learning about that culture and everything like that. And then of course when he went to wrestling and doing all that, he incorporated into the lifestyle and everything,
But
which is pretty interesting.
someone
That's
named
basically,
Jim Cornette forgets to mention all that.
yeah. Well, here's one thing too. Brock Lesnar never did that. Brock Lesnar was there, but of course, he had his whole thing and everything. He had a name and following before, and
And you
that's
know
what
what
made him
Omega
successful.
said his best moment in Japan was?
What was it?
Getting slapped by Inoki.
Exactly right there. See that shows he knows the culture. Of course, Antonio Inoki when he does that slap, it's considered a big thing of respect. Like, okay, you got slapped by a wrestling legend.
Didn't
I mean,
Jacqueline voluntarily go and do it?
yep. And she gave him a hug afterwards. She's like, "All right, that's cool. I respect that."
We know one
That's
person
something.
who didn't get the slap.
Rock, right?
Yep.
Rock Lesnar. He did not. He said I wasn't taking any of it. He's like the only guy that said I'm not gonna do it. Supposedly, I think the rumor is that if you want to be in the IGF or an Inoki, I think General Federation, you have to go ahead and get slapped by Inoki. And Brock wasn't having any of it. He said, "No, fuck that. I'm not doing that." But I mean, look at AJ Styles for example. Even AJ Styles, he was a star way back then. He had all this kind of momentum shifting towards him, and now you see him on the big stage and everything, and he's like this big star. Japanese fans love him. This that. It's crazy. But is Kenny like one of the time athletes? If he said he wants to stay in Japan. Like, I think, what was the rumors that you were hearing about Kenny and his future? Like, supposedly I heard he's taking time off, right?
Not really. I know where he's
So
going.
where'd you hear?
Well, I haven't released it on Twitter, so being the fact this is the first show of the year,
Yep,
should I reveal it?
let's do it. Well, unless you want to hold it, it's up to you. Well,
Uh,
let me explain this. I'll say this. Here's speculation. I think the speculation is that okay, he's gonna go to WWE, but here's something that's interesting though. He said in the past many times where he bashed WWE and said, "I don't like the creative direction, this that," and he
I
said,
want to be the only legend to never go to WWE. Those were his
"Yep,
words a few years
those
ago.
are his words." And that was, I think, he said that recently too, and that was something too. So that kind of gives a straight up idea of okay where he's going. But then
But
of course
if
you
you
see,
remember,
yeah,
last year, 2 weeks before the Rumble,
hmm
someone by the name of John Cena posted a
yep,
picture of AJ Styles.
that's what I was gonna get at. Yeah. So then John Cena posted this picture of Kenny Omega
Not only
on
that,
his Instagram.
he posted 3 other pictures too.
Really,
He posted Kenny from South Park, the letter O, and Mega Man. Put it
really,
together. Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega, really. Well, that could be anything. He could just be trolling. He could just be, being Trump, like how Trump is right now on Twitter right now. He probably might be just trolling the wrestling fans in the wrestling world. You never know.
But he
But
put the picture of Styles and magically, boom, AJ shows up at the Rumble. But, we never saw the actual crowd reaction because Kevin Dunn put the camera on Roman Reigns.
yeah, and he loved to see that face and all that shit. He had dreamy eyes and all that shit. But
He
fuck
was
that. I
probably
mean, hopefully. But what about this? So
he was probably
do you think that
fucking jerking off in the back when they.
with Vince in the side and all that shit, I don't know, man. It's fucked up. But so that brings us to the Royal Rumble. Do you think that he's gonna show up?
Well, this is my big reveal that I know. He will be one of the
Okay.
surprise entries.
So you're sure, positive.
100% positive.
I kind of doubt it. I think he won't be able to. I don't think he's gonna come up. I mean, he's bashed WWE so many times. It's like why do it?
Yeah, but Kurt Angle also bashed WWE and he's getting fucking inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing too. I mean, of course, And there's always that speculation where he said, "I'm never going back to the WWE because they don't want me to wrestle." But I think that's just we're like we have some time to find that out.
And Kurt even
But I
said,
mean that's moving. Yeah.
he revealed his 2 matches he wants to do.
More matches.
He wants to face AJ Styles, which I don't
Yep.
blame him.
Yep.
Great talent. And he
Mhm.
said his final match he wants to be fighting Seth Rollins because an athlete like that only comes once in a lifetime.
Right. What I think should really happen, I think with Kurt is just I think he can't be on like he can't wrestle anymore, right? Or I think that's what the assumption is that
He
Vince
still
doesn't
can.
want him
He fought
wrestling.
Cody. He's fighting Cody in a cage match in like two
Yeah.
weeks.
Right, but Vince is probably like, we don't want that to happen because of course there's like all these kind of things, the lawsuit and
Well,
everything. Same thing with like Sting. Like Sting, he had to retire. Like there was this one single spot, and that fucked him up everywhere. So if he did have that match with Seth, I think that's probably one of the concerns. Is Seth gonna injure this guy and
yeah,
put him
but
out?
since then, Seth hasn't done the buckle bomb
Yeah, he hasn't done the buckle bomb for a while now, and I think he felt kind of bad.
since
I think
Finn.
he said in many interviews that he felt bad about that and everything like that. And
But Finn even said it was his fault
yep, and
because
Sting, yeah,
he told Seth to throw him too sooner than he actually did.
yeah,
So you
but
can't really blame Seth. You can blame Finn.
yeah, but I mean, here's one thing too. As a wrestling fan, when you saw that match, weren't you disappointed? And you found out and you said, "Oh, something really bad happened." Oh man, and then you got the idea like, "Oh man, this guy is not wrestling anymore. That's his last match." That's
I
kind of
was upset.
frustrating to you, right?
I was upset because that easily could have been a 5-star match.
Yeah, I felt so disappointed when I see him stumbling. I was like, "Oh man, get this guy out of the ring." That's really sad. Because when you see that, it's like, "Oh man, you have high hopes. You think he's gonna go to WrestleMania and face the Undertaker? Didn't happen. Didn't materialize." And then
Everyone
what ended up
knows.
happening?
Everyone knows Finn versus Seth easily is a 5-star match. The minute you see it on paper, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's definitely going to be match of the year. That's going
yeah,
to be match of the century.
yeah.
But
But
now Omega versus Okada, that's hard to top.
yeah, I think it's hard to top. I mean, I'd probably say that's probably match of the year as of now. I mean,
And
we
that
have
was
of course
only what 8 days into the year.
4 days, 4 days into the year. That's pretty crazy. That's interesting. I mean, which is one more thing too. Interesting note. All Young Bucks lost their titles, of course. That's fucked up right there. They were really tight about that. Of course, Omega lost. I was really surprised. I was like, oh my god.
I was pissed. I'm like,
I was
that
so tight.
was. I'm like,
I thought that was gonna be his crowning moment. I thought it was gonna be like, that's it. That's the resurrection of the Bullet Club. This is what it is. This is good. Next thing you know, he loses. It's like, oh man, come on. And then on top of that, the only member that won, well, actually, only two members. Cody, of course, won, but Adam Cole,
Adam Cole, baby.
Adam Cole, baby, became
The
the
first,
new ROH
no,
champion.
the first ever 3-time ROH World
Oh,
Heavyweight
that's
Champion.
right. That's right. That's right. Well, how about this? What about the rumors? Kyle
Which, by the
O'Reilly.
way, that was a great match also.
It was. It
Cole
was indeed.
versus O'Reilly, great match.
Yep. Well, what do you think about O'Reilly coming to WWE?
I see him in NXT for a little bit.
I think he's gonna show up soon, very soon. He's gonna show up.
Do you think he 205? I'm gonna look
No,
this
I don't
up.
think.
Think he could possibly be a cruiserweight.
Well, I think WWE they kind of have. Well, I heard WWE is kind of frustrated with 205 Live. When I mean WWE, I mean this.
He is 207.
You can still count it. They could lie, I guess.
Yeah, but if you're a real wrestling fan, you know he's not 205.
Yeah, that's true. But he
But if you think
performs like
about
he's
it,
205.
but if you think about it, it's easy for wrestlers to lose 2 pounds.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's true.
That's really
But
nothing to them.
yeah,
Look at,
well,
I have to bring this up. Look at Cedric. He lost
Cedric.
20 pounds.
What do you think about this whole thing with him and Alicia Fox and Noam Dar?
Take Alicia Fox out of this, you could get a
Definitely.
great feud.
Yes, yes. And who do you think had the bright idea of doing that?
That was actually Vince.
That was
Not
Vince.
that wasn't Kevin. That was actually Vince.
I thought it was Kevin for a sec because I thought definitely that's Kevin.
At first, I thought it was. Then I actually looked into the feud, and Alicia said it's Vince who likes this feud.
That's some BS. That's crazy. Because like you know how if you see like the angles of certain segments and everything like that, you could tell who made the segment. Like if you know, you could tell pretty much. Like I pick up certain clues. Like for example, like with Enzo and Cass, if you see certain segments like that, you see how it's going, you see how they produce it, the camera angles, everything, and you could tell who did it, or who do you think had some kind of involvement in that. Like for example, recently they had Enzo. I think what he was in a wheelchair or something,
Yeah.
and like you see him like limping and all this stuff and all that
Do you
crap.
know why he was in the wheelchair though?
He got injured, right?
He actually was legit injured.
Yeah, I've heard. I've heard. Yeah.
He
I mean,
legit
that's.
injured his knee.
I think that he should have kept that as his real gig, like be in a wheelchair for a while and that's it. Kind of like how
Like
Kurt Angle was.
I was about to say, just like Kurt Angle was for like a couple months when he was the
Yeah.
GM.
Right. Right. It works though. I mean, I think it worked for him, no problem.
Oh,
And
it
Enzo
worked
could.
for Kurt perfect.
Yeah. Well, how about Braun Strowman? What do you think about Braun Strowman?
He's starting to grow on me.
Starting growing? Wow. I mean, for me, I'm thinking that they made him look strong. I think for sure they did a good job with that. But for me, I still think that they need to do a little more development. He's not, he's still
Yeah.
not convincing to me.
Like he's starting to grow on me. Like he actually could be something like the giant wrestler that is somewhat athletic.
Like someone can fear, right? People can fear him.
Yeah.
Hopefully, they don't have like a guy like another Cena take this guy down with one shot and be like, oh, you know what? That's it.
But someone who you even notice who I did not like, who has actually developed and has grown on me is Baron Corbin.
Right. Oh man, Baron. Well, here's the thing with Baron Corbin. I think Baron Corbin is set up in line for a world title this year for sure.
Well,
Has to
he's
be.
gonna be in the elimination chamber.
That's a fact. Yep.
It's
And I
just a
think,
matter of time when they actually announce who the other five competitors are going to be.
yeah. Well, of course, AJ
Because
Styles is
as of
one of them.
now, it's not AJ. It's the winner of the title match at Royal Rumble.
I see. So we'll get to that one moment. I'm gonna hold off on that. But with Baron Corbin,
But Corbin has developed. I mean, like he's
I think
becoming
he's
a
ready.
good talker now.
Yeah, I think he's a good talker, but I really like him. Like I like the way they've developed him, and I like the way
And
that they're
everyone knows,
making him.
all the fans who listen to our show knows I'm for the talkers.
Yeah,
I love someone who could drop a fucking promo.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think that if you had a
You do too. You love a promo,
yeah,
Cutter.
the fucking it's crazy. But here's one thing too with the promos. There's a lot of qualities that we gotta look at. Of course, many people put a lot of pressure on people that cut promos. So they're kind of like, okay, if you're a guy that can talk, and if you can, deliver a reaction, you're a perfect promo. Look at like Bray for example. Bray when he talks, you listen and you're like, okay, this is cool. Some is gibberish, but you still listen. You're like,
I was
all
gonna
right,
say
he's a good
sometimes you
promo.
don't know what the fuck he's saying, but you're like, wow, that was good.
Yeah, you're like, wow, that's pretty good.
Broken
But I
Matt
mean, like,
Hardy.
yeah. Well, what about Enzo?
Oh, he's just amazing.
It's crazy with this guy. It's like, come on, man, he's perfect. He's gold. But like, if you see somebody
We're
like,
we're stars. We take meteor showers. You're
yep,
boneless. Chicken tenders. What?
chicken tenders. Oh my god,
You're saying like, what
it's
the fuck are you saying? But
you're
it's
like, whoa,
good.
whoa, what the fuck? Like, what the? Yeah, it's just like, oh
The
man.
best
See,
the
that's
best
something that
promo Enzo
yeah, gets
ever
you apart.
cut. The best promo Enzo
Mhm.
ever cut was at Battleground 2016 when
I think I remember. Yeah.
It was Enzo, Cass, and Cena versus Styles, Gallows, and Anderson.
Right, right.
And
I remember.
Cass usually has something to say, but Cass was
Yeah,
like, "Give it up for Enzo. That was gold. I can't follow that."
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. He rolls right off the tongue, and it's natural. That's what everything everybody likes about him. But like with Baron Corbin and
That's what happens
what you call it?
That's what happens when you're a New Yorker.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
You
But what
just
about
know how to talk.
yeah, that's true. Well, that's one thing. Most of the biggest talkers have come from New York. Any kind of wrestlers that are from New York are usually the best talkers.
Or
I mean,
Chicago.
that's that. Yeah, that might be because we're from New York, but
Or
the fact
Chicago.
is, yeah, still
Someone whose name who cannot be mentioned on WWE TV.
yep, that's right, that's right. But
But you
well,
know
here's
what?
one thing
Fuck
too.
it. I'm just gonna say it. CM Punk, one of the best talkers I ever heard.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Natural, like I said, somebody that rolls off the tongue. Paul Heyman, another guy,
New
New
York.
York guy. See, perfect. That dude's a perfect talker. But like, I mean, with Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman, I think it's just too much of Vince has too much involvement in that. And I think people are looking at like, okay, This guy is just, he's
Because
being
he's
spoon
tall.
fed with
That's
so
why.
much.
That's why Vince loves him.
Yeah, he has a figure. That's all. But I think,
Oh,
well,
he's tall. He has long hair.
yeah. Oh, he has a figure. Like, okay, fine. Stop jacking off to his muscles. Okay, fine. We understand that. But
The one thing I can
love
say,
this guy.
Cass has
Come on.
the look to be a
Yeah.
guy that could hold the title.
Well, here's one thing. Yeah, that's true. But I think Vince also is thinking that too. Vince is like, oh my god. Once he saw his height and his look and everything, he said, all right, this guy's WWE champion.
You know why he
But
also
it's
thought
just
that
like,
too? That looks like his ex son-in-law.
that's right.
Big Cass is Test.
Pretty much it is. Yeah, if you really think about it. If you put them side to side, definitely you're gonna see that.
You see the resemblance,
But it's
like
like,
spot on. Seven
yeah,
foot tall,
yeah,
long brown hair,
hmm
kind of jacked. So you're like, holy
yeah,
shit, this is Test.
yep. It is test. But what about this? So Royal Rumbles coming up, of course. Many different rumors. Do you think
This
Baron
is
Corbin?
rumor season right now.
Yep, this is pretty much a rumor mill. Start spinning. But do you think this is gonna happen? A stare off between Braun Strowman and Baron Corbin. What do you
I
think
can
about
see that
that?
happening,
I think that's gonna be awesome if that happens. And then of
but
course
that's
Vince
all you're
McMahon.
gonna see because they're not gonna do anything because two different shows.
Yeah. Well,
But
I
I can
think
actually see that happening sometime in the Rumble.
yeah. Well, I think this is that's gonna happen. Pretty much, the Royal Rumble is known as a time where you see stare offs. Pretty much, that's all it is. It's just stare off, stare off, stare off, stare off, stare off. That's it. And the crowd marks off when they see, like, holy shit, oh my god, this is actually gonna happen. You know.
You last year you saw the stuff between AJ and Jericho,
Yeah.
and you're like, holy shit!
You saw Triple H and Bray. That was pretty interesting.
Oh my god, that was one of the I marked out.
I marked off. Fuck. I was like, holy shit, this has to happen. That was perfect right there. But then, and plus, it's like Triple H is behind,
I think,
pushing Braun and pushing Bray and everything.
to be honest, I see something happening between Seth and Triple H, which will start the build to WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna start because you
I
gotta
think Triple
understand
H is
this.
going to come out and screw over Seth
I think Triple H is gonna be in the Rumble, just
as
like
a
last year he
surprise
was.
entry.
Yep, and they're gonna tease that he's gonna be, the
Just
guy
throwing it
that's
out
gonna
there.
win them.
When Triple H came out last year, I also marked the fuck out.
Well, I was actually thinking, I was like, please, please, somebody good come out, somebody good come
Oh,
out.
I knew
Don't
he.
have it be Jim Duggan. Don't be Jim Duggan. Next thing you know, Triple H comes out. I was like, oh, thank fucking God.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was like, thank God. It's like a godsend. It was like, God damn. Because
Oh,
we were thinking that Roman's gonna win.
here's a question for you now.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah.
Countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You hear Daniel Bryan's music play, but it's The Miz. How are you reacting?
I'm thinking that's genius.
Because you know that's going to happen.
I hope it does. And plus that can build up maybe one match in the future.
I don't.
Because
I think it's
of
going to
course,
be Shane versus The Miz, because Bryan can't wrestle.
that's true. I mean, of course, they said Shane is. I think rumored to have a match at WrestleMania, right?
A lot of people are saying Shane versus AJ.
Yeah, and that's gonna. I think that's pretty interesting.
But if you
But
want to
here's
keep a
more.
storyline going, Shane versus Miz.
Yeah, or probably you can just have Shane. I mean, you can have Miz versus Daniel Bryan. I think at some point it's gonna happen. There's gonna be in some fashion where it's gonna be Daniel Bryan versus the Miz. It has to happen.
But
Don't
tell me
lie.
that won't be amazing.
It will be.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you
Well,
hear
here's one thing.
Flight of the Valkyries, and then
Right.
magically, it's The
Uh-huh.
Miz.
That's major heat right there. That's a perfect heat magnet right there. That's perfect.
That will
But
be, hands down, without a doubt, one of the top heel moves you will ever see.
that's right. That's right. Well, here's one thing. I think Miz has really improved as a heel for sure. Before I would say he's not that good of a heel,
I
but he's
always,
improved.
I always liked The Miz. I don't know why. It was something
Really.
about him. Like, he has qualities to be a top heel in the company.
Well, here's one thing. I think when I see like the what you call it, his whole reality show gimmick, and I see him now,
The
he's
movie star
evolved to
gimmick.
a point where it's like, okay, yeah. I mean, every time I see him, I kept thinking, okay, reality star, reality star, reality star, reality star. You won the title, reality star. You won that reality star. Okay, MTV, whatever bullshit. Fuck this. Then after you see him doing this, and it's like, okay, that's interesting. Okay, and then as time goes on, you start seeing him drifting away from being this reality star kind of gimmick to being an
And he's
actual like,
freaking married to
heel.
Maurice, which
Yep.
even more heat from the guys.
Hmm.
You're
That's
married
right.
to
That's
a
right.
fucking smoking hot former diva.
Yep. Old diva nonetheless that has a big reputation, so that's even better. But speaking of divas that
One of
have a
the
big
longest,
reputation,
one of the longest reigning women's champions. Also,
yep.
I think she's like the third longest or something.
Who, Maurice?
Yeah,
Really?
I think it's
That's interesting.
Nikki Bella. No,
Hmm.
Charlotte, Nikki, AJ, Maurice. She's the fourth longest.
It's the fourth longest. Yeah, I think because back in the day she had a long ass reign. I think this is like 10 years ago. I think probably right.
Probably less, but that you could say 10 just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, right, probably about
I
10.
think
I
it's
think.
less.
Yeah, but I mean, nonetheless, of course, they're bringing back new divas too. Think about recently what happened. Of course, you had recently Raw was beaten by SmackDown in the ratings, and I mean, wouldn't you agree SmackDown's a better show than Raw?
One match on SmackDown could beat all 3 hours of Raw.
And which one's that?
No, I'm saying in general, one SmackDown match could beat Raw all 3 hours.
Yeah, that's true. That's right. But I think it's just I think also the build up. Like they have an equal build up of talking, like segments, and then they
And
have
you know what's funny
yeah,
though? SmackDown is a 2 hour show, and they put on a way better show than a 3 hour show.
of course. I mean, 2 hours you have less time to work with. I mean, of course, like brands and all that, of course, and all that of how you structure a show. But it's like Raw, I think, has bigger challenge because it's like, okay, how are you gonna produce 3 hours worth of show and you have so many rivalries? It's like a lot of pressure. I guess that's probably the main point of that. It's kind of hard for them to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what do you think? Do you think they should go back to 2 hours?
Who, Raw?
Yep.
I think it should still be 8 to 11, but you give an actual full hour to cruiserweights.
Just like how SmackDown has 205, right?
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's a pretty
So
good
the
idea.
cruiserweights are technically getting 2 hours of showtime a week.
Or you
They
can
have,
give it to, NXT, like how Taz was talking about. NXT is the first hour, Raw is the second and third hour.
or vice versa. Raw is 1 and 2, and NXT is 3.
Yeah, but I
Either
mean,
one.
of course, recently they had the UK tournament. What are your thoughts on that?
I actually didn't watch it.
Oh man, you didn't watch it yet?
I got all the updates though.
Oh my god! If you see, I'll tell you probably three competitors that really brought my attention.
I know Mark.
Pete Dunne,
I know Mark
yeah,
Andrews was in there from TNA,
TNA, yeah, number one. I think that was pretty good too with
which, by
him.
the way,
Uh,
he left the company and he did sign with WWE.
really
Yes.
interesting. Also, another person that left ROH, Nigel McGuinness. Also, another one, Steve Corino.
Well, we all knew that Nigel signed, and so did Carino.
Their deals expired, I think, right?
Yeah. Well,
I see. I see.
Nigel was just a commentator, right? Or is he
Yeah.
actually getting a actual position in the company?
Well, he's like I think he has Hep B. He has hepatitis, so he can't compete anymore. He retired, I think, in 2011.
Yeah, but
So he can't
he
compete.
probably is going to be like a talent agent or color commentator or something,
Or
probably.
producer maybe, or like a producer, or yeah, maybe some kind of color commentator. I mean, but here's one thing. I think that they did a perfect job of involving him inside the in the program. It was perfect. I mean, of course he had that role, and it made sense,
Because I
to do
actually
that.
heard that him and Cole make a great team.
They make a they make a really good team. But I think with Cole, like if you notice this whole show, they did a really good job of actually making him like an expert in. Well, actually, they tried to make him an expert in indie wrestling. Like he actually had some knowledge. Like it seems like
Because he
he
probably
paid,
does watch indie wrestling. I
or he
think
probably pays attention to it. He probably doesn't
a
get
lot
time.
of people are saying Cole did really well because Vince wasn't in his ear telling him what to say.
Yeah, it was kind of natural. It was something that was straight up. He just straight from the heart. It wasn't like Vince was in here or Dunn was in his ear telling him say this, say that, and then
Please tell me you remember that one time they actually had Cole talking to Vince on camera.
When
Vince was
was
in his ear.
when
Uh,
was
I forgot when it was, but if you YouTube it,
Mhm.
type Vince McMahon in Cole's ear on TV,
Mhm.
you actually hear Cole saying, do you want me to plug the network again? I just fucking said it 10 minutes ago.
Really?
It was actually on camera.
Well, I seen like with Kevin Dunn producing and everything. I see the videos where he's like, it's like leaked and everything. So it's like NXT tapings and everything like that, way back in the day. And they're like, okay, cue this, cue that, do that, and he's cursing. He's like, the fuck you doing? Kurt, cue this, cue that. Zoom in on his face. It's like, I just look at this guy. I'm like, are you serious? Like, this is, oh, come on, man. Like, you're really like this kind of, you're producing like
It's
this. It's kind of
funny.
like, okay, you could do a lot better. Like, come on, you could do something a lot more better than this. But you just keep following the same thing, and it kind of makes you go bonkers because it's like this guy's getting paid the most in the whole company, and
To
all he's
do
doing is just
nothing.
the same time. He's not putting any effort in. It's like, come
He's
on,
getting paid the most money to jerk off to fucking Roman Reigns.
pretty much that's all he's getting paid for. It's like, what the fuck. But what about well, UK? Well, here's one thing. 3 names I can tell you that stood out if you ever watch it. Mark Andrews, of course, Mandrews. That's number one. Pete Dunne,
I know
who
him.
I say is pretty much like a fusion. He's like the fusion. I think he's a progress champion right now.
Yeah.
He formed he performed in ICW and everything like that. And of course
No,
Tyler Bates.
He actually lost it to Matt Riddle, the
Oh
Progress
really?
title,
Oh, so recently lost it or?
right before the UK tournament.
Ah, I see, I see. But that's,
See
I
what
mean,
they're
of
doing
course,
though.
you put on a perfect, yeah. They put a really, really good performance for him. I mean, it seems like yeah, they have high hopes for him, maybe trying to sign him or whatever.
Who's the
But then
one
of
that
course they
was?
have Tyler Bates.
Who's the one who was like 19 years old in the tournament?
That is yeah, that's Tyler Bates.
That was Tyler Bates.
Yep.
I heard he's like up there.
This guy, I'm telling you, this guy's like he's pretty much like a Daniel Bryan, pretty much. That's all it is. He's
Who's
basically
the
like,
Finn Balor ripoff?
I forgot his name.
They said that someone looks like
Peter Devlin, I think, something like that.
they say he looks identical to Finn Balor with the
He's like a
jacket and
copy.
everything.
So he tries to rip him off. Odie, like if you see this guy, it's crazy. I think his name is
You
Peter
see him come
Devlin,
out with
something like
a
that. Something Devlin.
if you see him come out with a, you're like, yeah, definitely rip off.
Yeah, definitely. But of course, he showed up, and it's like, okay, everybody started booing him and everything because he was like being the heel, and I guess nobody liked him or whatever. But that's on. But if
And
you
then
look
I
at Pete
heard
Dunne,
they had a Neville match with Big Damo.
oh yes, yes, Big Dom. Oh my God, that was
Wait,
crazy.
was it
Tommy
Damo?
Yen, Tommy Yen.
Tommy End
Tommy Yen
with
came
his
out.
new
Yeah,
name.
yeah. Everybody was marking out when they saw him. They're like, holy shit.
He's
And then
good,
you see his
right?
kind of matches, like, damn,
He's good.
he's pretty good. He's pretty good. I
And
think you were
guess
telling me
who's
before. It's like, wow,
and guess who signed him?
Triple H.
Yep. Triple
I
H
had to. Who
loves
else?
indies. Triple H
He
loves the
loves it.
indie competitors.
Mhm. Well, here's one thing too. I heard that they're well, what do you think is going to be the future of this UK tournament now? Now that they have the belt and everything.
Go to SmackDown
Well, SmackDown.
because you got the cruiserweights on Raw, and Triple
Right.
H said by the summer there's going to be the women's tournament.
I hope. I'm looking forward to see that.
Well, we know Angelina Love can't be in it
Why not? Oh,
because she just recently re-signed with TNA.
uh,
Well, for the
what about
fans
what
who,
about Velvet Sky?
well, for the fans who probably aren't caught up with TNA, Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards are no longer a team.
Hmm.
They brought in Angelina Love to be with Davey, and they brought up Eddie's wife to be with Eddie. They're going to do a kind of like what they did with Cody and Brandy with Mike Bennett and Maria.
Right, right. Here's also another side note. Cody Rhodes is the only man to have been in WrestleMania. What is it? What else?
WrestleMania, Bound for Glory,
Right.
Battle of Los Angeles, Final Battle, and Wrestle Kingdom all within a 10-month span.
Yep. And that's crazy. That's without WWE. So that's interesting. And plus, he was on Arrow. And plus, he's in the
Superstar of the Year candidate, definitely.
Yep, for sure, definitely. And the most biggest, I think, uprising of a like that. He's basically the example that you don't need WWE to excel. You
I
don't
think
need
he's
WWE.
actually almost completed his list.
Yeah, he
You
had a
remember in the
list. I think.
beginning of the summer,
Right.
I think the only ones left are the Young Bucks.
Hmm.
Like anything tag team related, I think that's the only thing he hasn't done yet.
Right.
Wow.
But it
And
seems like
Adam,
Angel.
well, he can't do the Young Bucks and he can't do Adam Cole because they're in the Bullet Club together.
Right. Right. But it seems like New Japan has a bit, like very high hopes for uh for um uh for Cody
Cody,
Rhodes.
do you blame
Yeah.
him?
I don't know. I think
He's
they're spot on.
talented.
They should make him the next big star for sure.
Well, once Cole leaves, he's going to be the big guy.
Yeah. Well, I think once, yeah, of course, when Omega, I think when Omega leaves, definitely it's gonna happen. They're probably gonna push him to be the champ.
Well, it'll depend the next couple weeks if Omega is staying or leaving, but we all know Cole's leaving.
Yep. Do you think
It's
Cole's gonna go
basically,
to NXT or main roster?
I think they're going to do Kevin Owens with him,
That'd be dope, though. No lie. They
a
should make a tag.
little NXT,
Yep.
and then boom. Because he's basically ready.
Yeah, he is. You sure? He sure is.
There's a lot of people who are basically main roster ready.
One of them, Ricochet. Do you think Ricochet is gonna show up for Royal Rumble?
Remember, he said he isn't taking bookings after December.
We said that thing in last June too, right?
Yeah, but he had
For
to
I think,
finish out
but that was
other.
only for New Japan, I think. Yeah. But now I think I don't know if it's for New Japan or I guess period.
I don't remember, but I remember he said after December he's not taking any more bookings.
Right, right. But then, so what do you think about you know, surprise entrance? This is of course the 30th. I think the 30th year, pretty much, of them doing the Rumble.
Well,
30 years.
I'm sticking with this because I just want this to happen. The perfect
So how about
10,
this?
the perfect 10 shows up at number 10.
I'm confident that's gonna happen too. Yeah, I think it's gonna happen.
It has to happen.
That's a
It's
fact.
it's meant to
Yeah.
be.
Yep. What about Samoa Joe?
Uh, he hasn't been doing NXT house shows,
Yep. So that's a sign, probably he definitely is coming in.
and Triple H even said they're building something big for him at WrestleMania.
I heard they're making him like have a big push. I hope they are. I hope they follow through with that. But then, what do you think about what else? Who else? Do you think Shawn Michaels will show up?
I think so. Even though he said he's just going to be at the Rumble, not competing, I think he's actually going to compete.
Yeah, I
Have like a
agree.
little spot.
Hmm. So of course we got who else? Undertaker's obviously going to be in there. What do you think about this whole thing with Undertaker and Braun Strowman? Do you think that's actually gonna
I hope not.
materialize? I hope not, indeed. I mean, I was looking at that. I think it was on. I think last week's Raw. They had Undertaker come out first time, in a while,
Two
and of
weeks
course,
ago,
yeah, he comes out and then basically is kind of promo, and the next thing you know,
just throwing out there, the
yeah,
best line he said, I dug 29 graves for 29 for 29 souls.
right, right,
When he said that, I'm like, that is something old Taker would definitely say.
yeah. And do you think he's gonna win though? Because everybody's projecting that he's gonna win.
I, as a fan, I hope he does of The Undertaker. I'm a big fan of The Taker. I hope he does. But as an actual wrestling fan, I hope not.
Well, I mean, we're gonna probably get to this later, probably towards the end, like almost when we're wrapping up. We're gonna be talking about who we think is gonna win the Rumble and what the plans do you think are up till now, till WrestleMania. But I mean, what I'm thinking also is, what do you think about this whole program with Jericho and Owens? Of course, we have the Royal Rumble match. Jericho, of course, is in it. Rollins is, of course, in it. Dean Ambrose is also in it. But Roman and Owens is kind of wishy-washy, meaning they don't know what's gonna happen. Because either way, I think the loser of that match will be.
This is actually the first year the Rumble is unpredictable.
That's a fact. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that's the reason I think it's with due cause to make it unpredictable because it's like, anything can happen now.
Because remember, back in the day, you could basically pinpoint, like, oh, This guy's gonna win. This guy's gonna win. This guy's gonna win.
Yep.
Now
Uh-huh.
you're looking at you like, wow,
This it's a stacked card though. I can tell you that it's a stacked Rumble. Of course, New Day's in it.
the
I
Wyatts
think
are in it.
Gallows, yeah, the Wyatts are in it. Gallows and Anderson are in it. I think.
Yeah,
Who else? Sheamus and Cesaro in it. A
it's a lot of Raw guys in it.
lot of Raw guys, a lot of SmackDown guys, a lot of big entrants too. I
Not
think a
really,
lot.
not really SmackDown. It's more Raw guys.
That's true. I mean, but eventually, you never know. They might be announcing a lot more. American Alpha, maybe. You never know.
I hope.
What do you think about these title changes that have happened? Of course, Alexa Bliss won the women's title.
I'm very happy about
Alpha,
that.
yeah, Alpha won the tag titles, which I think is a package deal.
I was excited with that.
I was hyped with that. But then, what do you think about this whole program with Wyatt and Orton?
I like it because Randy's basically breaking them up from the inside, little by little.
I think one of them is going to turn. I think either Luke is going to turn on them, or
I
Bray's going
hope
to turn on Luke.
I hope Luke because he deserves a big push. He's a very, very good talent.
Yeah, I think he can move up to be a main event card talent. So you never know, it can happen.
But Bray deserves his push.
Well, what are your thoughts on this then? A women's Royal Rumble.
I'm hearing they're gonna actually do a women's elimination chamber.
Oh, that'd be dope if they actually do that.
That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, they had the Hell in a Cell match. They
They had
had
a
steel
steel
cage
cage. They
match.
had a Falls Count Anywhere match,
Yeah, they had what else? The Iron Woman match, Iron Man match. You know, possibly design list. Now I think the only things left is the Royal Rumble match, a Money in the Bank match, and Elimination Chamber match.
which a lot of people would actually like the Money in the Bank.
I think for sure that's definitely gonna happen. You never know.
I think it's just a matter of time because I think it will do good. It's just who would you throw in it?
Yep.
Which
But I
leads
mean,
me
nonetheless.
which leads me to a question since we're talking
Yeah.
about the women.
Yeah.
When is Emelina debuting?
Oh
It's been two
yes, yes.
months.
They keep on going and showing these vignettes. I don't think it's gonna happen. It's like a
It's
joke of
been it's been 2 months.
yeah. It's like this. It's like when is Darren Young gonna become champion? Oh, when Emelina debuts.
When is Eva Marie gonna actually fight?
When Emelina debuts. When will Kevin Dunn get an actual Emmy or like a Golden Globe or whatever like that? A big award and being recognized for his producing genius.
When
When Emelina debuts. It's crazy. I mean, it's like they
here's
keep
another
on teasing
question.
it.
Where's
Yep,
Summer Rae?
that's right. Total Divas. Well, here's one thing about Total Divas. The big highlight is this. Kevin Dunn has a history of okay, if someone gets released, he says no, fuck you, get the fuck out of here. We don't know you. We don't need anything to do with you. We're the
Your
WWE.
name will no longer be talked about.
Yeah, we never talk about it. We never speak of your name. And he's like a specialist in that. But when it comes to AJ, right? I mean, no. When it comes to like Paige and AJ and everything like that, he brings that in. He says, "Oh, no problem. That's all right. It's Total Divas. It's his show. That's his baby. It's all right." But when like Triple H wants to do it, oh no, we can't do that. We can't do that. What are your thoughts on that with Del Rio and Paige on Total Divas, and they're still promoting it?
Well, just remember, Paige is still employed with WWE.
Oh, you think she still is?
No, she's still employed.
But I mean, I keep hearing that she's getting injured and all that. Well, here's one thing too with she keeps getting injured. That's one, but it's also the fact that like she keeps having all these kind of things with Alberto Del Rio. It's like okay, WWE doesn't fond about that, and she keeps going and saying "fuck you WWE." We're still gonna do what the fuck we want. Like what do you think is the future for her?
Well, she's not pregnant. She said it.
Do you think she's coming back to WWE anytime soon?
She's her suspension is up, so from what I'm hearing, they want to push her in the summer or after Mania as a top woman heel.
That can happen. You never know.
And if, from what I'm also hearing from my sources, which are never wrong, if you watch the vignette of Eric Rowan talking
Hmm.
to a female, Sister Abigail,
So they're gonna bring Sister Abigail into WWE.
and it's going to be Paige.
That's an interesting twist. It can happen. You never know. Well, here's one thing that I always heard. When Bray Wyatt debuted on NXT, Luke Harper was supposedly his son, right?
Some shit like that.
I think they could expand on that, do something like that, where Bray Wyatt is kind of like a Charles Manson kind of thing, where it's like, of course, everybody compares that. It's like Charles Manson and what's happening there and all that stuff in the family, and the same thing. WWE Wyatt family, pretty much the same kind of deal. It's like they have to have something like that, but it's like at the same time, what actually is going to happen there? Are they really going to have this kind of thing where at some point Bray kind of develops into this kind of father figure or a psychotic, Charles Manson type character, or this kind of guy that's just psychotic and running a cult?
Well, what I would also like to see, which could be very possible, but who knows, Broken Matt Hardy versus Ray Wyatt.
It can happen. I mean, here's one thing. I think, like for example, TNA right now.
Well,
Let's talk
Hardy's
about
actually getting one of his wishes
what's that?
because if you remember, he was offering the Day of New and the Bucks of Youth
Hmm.
to come to the Hardy compound.
Yep,
The Bucks of Youth actually answered the challenge.
I heard. Yeah,
So the name of this little thing is going to be called Too Sweet or Delete.
that's dope. Well, I think with Anthem, of course, Anthem Sports, they took over TNA, of course, recently. New logo and all that stuff, rebranding it, and of course, they're letting Matt Hardy run with the ship, just like how they had Dixie Carter do that. Now she's out on her
Do you
way.
blame him though? I will let
No,
Hardy do whatever he wants.
that's right. That's right. I think it's a great idea. I think they should continue that.
Hardy, if you want to do one show a month, just something or delete,
Yeah,
take it and run.
yeah. And I think and that's the reason why they're still operating. I think that TNA owes Matt Hardy that.
I think TNA owes Matt Hardy the company.
Yeah, that's true. It's kind of like how Conor McGregor is like, he's the guy that's making all the money, all the guys that are doing the fight.
That's
But
Dana White's son.
yeah, that's basically Dana White's son. And then same thing, TNA is the father. Basically, what like Matt Hardy's the son of TNA pretty much because TNA is like providing for that. But Matt Hardy's like the big machine that's feeding the production of that. And that's something
Hmm.
because that's very rare to see. And I think WWE has multiple times they said that they were interested, they weren't interested, they were interested, they weren't interested with the Hardy Boys. But they said for sure they want the Hardy Boys back in WWE to promote like the tables, ladders, and chairs and all that stuff, and DVDs and all that stuff. But to see him actually come in like a character, imagine that broken Matt Hardy in WWE or in
The
some
first
way or shape.
feud, without a doubt, has to be him and Bray Wyatt, though.
It has to be. They're still fighting over the library and all that stuff, thinking about okay, what should we do? Should we do it? Should we not do it?
Well,
Whatever.
Vince should buy the library because he has so many TNA guys.
Yep.
So you
I
can't
mean,
release a DVD or any collections on the network.
and here's another thing too. Many of the inductees are TNA dudes too. Of course, the TNA guys. Of course, they have Kurt Angle recently coming in. Where was he in that whole 10 years that he was in WWE? Of course, people know
Uh,
about
an
Bulk
independent
Hogan,
company.
yeah, independent company known as TNA, and it's like okay, perfect introduction. What do these guys do after they leave WWE? Boom, TNA. Kevin Nash, Mick Foley, Scott Hall, X Pac, you name it. You run down the
GDP,
whole list.
Mr. Perfect,
Yep. Hulk Hogan, all that. Speaking of
the
Hulk
guy who
Hogan,
the guy who took down Brock Lesnar at 35,000 feet.
yep.
Still love that promo.
Oh man, that's crazy. But then, what do you think about uh, what you call Hulk Hogan? What was he saying? He's coming back soon.
But I hear he's not.
Do you still feel like if he does come back, there's still gonna be that reputation that he has with all that stuff, his controversial remarks and everything?
Probably.
It's crazy. I mean, this guy, they're gonna bring this guy back and everything like that. And just to think, the same year that he got suspended, they were throwing shows like Hulk Hogan Appreciation Night. So it kind of backfires on them because it's like, okay, we support this guy. He's a wrestling legend. At the same time, he said all these comments, and other media's like, "Whoa, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," and he's like, "Oh," and the WWE kind of stepped back and says, "Whoa, we're not getting involved with you." That's just bizarre to me. It's like, damn, come on, man. But nonetheless, of course, that's the company there. But as coming to the Royal Rumble, what do you think about the outcome of the two title matches there? You have, of course, on one side for Raw, Universal title, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns with Chris Jericho high up in the shark cage, so no interference. And then, of course, on the other side, we got AJ Styles versus John Cena, the new part timer. What do you think about that?
AJ winning, Kevin winning, and what was the other one?
That's it, I think. And then, of course, the Royal Rumble match we're going to talk about now. I think personally that Cena and Styles, it's kind of
I
unpredictable.
think that could be another. I think that could be another match of the year candidate.
It might be. We never know. I mean, of course, WWE, they pay attention. They watch
Look at the
probably
other
Wrestle
times they
Kingdom.
fought.
Yeah, so they have to. I think, of course, it's the build is being pretty good, but it's just okay. How can that materialize? I think they had what they did. What is it? Money in the Bank, right? They
Was
did.
it Money in the
What
Bank?
else? I think it was Money in the Bank, or yeah, Money in the Bank. Bank. They had a match for
SummerSlam,
SummerSlam, of course.
which
Yeah.
was hands down one of the best matches I've seen in
Yep.
WWE.
And they had a couple on SmackDown, but now they're gonna have this one for well, actually, they had in TLC, right?
Yeah. No,
In
TLC was
TLC,
Roman
of course.
and AJ.
Oh, I see, right. But then
Remember,
of
he
course they're
hit
gonna
the
have.
phenomenal forearm, and then he hit
I remember.
the Styles Clash, and Roman hit a spear and won the match,
Right, I
which I
remember
think
that.
is
Yeah,
complete bullshit.
it is. I think it's total bullshit. I mean, but with Roman, do you think that he'll ever?
I'll give you a
Uh,
guess who wrote that match, probably.
Two guys that love jacking off them, of course. You already know who they
Mhm.
are. Two old fucks.
Do you know where
Crazy.
you could see the review of that match, though?
Where?
A certain website.
Oh yes, I believe I heard of that website's name. Right?
I forgot the name of it, though.
I forgot the name of it too. It's I think it's three letters, right? It's this guy named V Nick Lopez. Is the knight that runs the site. What's his name? I can't put my tongue on it.
The Nick Lopez.
Nick Lopez. Yes, the Nick Lopez, who runs Pro Wrestling Opinion, right? That's PWO, ProWrestlingOpinion.com. You can go on there, check out your news, all that stuff. But nonetheless, moving on. We got, of course, the Royal Rumble match, which I think everybody's been talking about. Well, of course, I mean, bringing up Roman and AJ. I mean, Roman and Owens and AJ and Cena. I think it'd be better if WWE actually stick with having the chance to retain and then building off from there. Because, of course, who doesn't want to see Cena come back in the Royal Rumble match? Who doesn't want to see Roman come back in the Royal Rumble match and get the shit beat out of him and get
Well,
booed?
here's a question for you, though. Do you see anyone breaking Roman's record? The most eliminations in a Rumble.
Who else? Kane.
I think probably Baron might do it.
I feel like Braun might do it because WWE is so high on Braun. I wish it was Baron, but it's like, they have to,
I
I
mean,
guess they're just trying to make more of a
or
monster out of Braun.
or Samoa Joe.
You know what would be really cool? Samoa Joe and Braun linking up. Maybe that might be the WrestleMania match that they're looking for.
I still think Joe's going to debut and break the record for most eliminations in one Rumble match.
It can happen. Yeah, it can happen. Well, here's one thing too. It could possibly be the Royal Rumble where the most TNA stars show up, or actually TNA stars show up. Let's say, for example, you hear the music, Austin Aries comes out,
That would be
and he's in
cool.
the Rumble match. Because I think he's cleared right now. He's pretty much good, right? He's been showing up on Raw. He had a
The
good reputation.
the greatest man who ever lived.
Yeah, imagine that on the
Love
main
that
roster.
name.
But imagine that, like he comes up on, like of course he's on Raw doing commentary for 205 Live and all the cruiserweights. But imagine him coming out and actually being on the main roster. That's going to be pretty dope.
You got him. You get
What,
Joe.
what about Shinsuke Nakamura?
I think he might because he's. I think he's gonna lose the title to Bobby.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, I think it's because or Casasono. You never know.
He hasn't debuted on the show yet though. He's only done house shows,
Yeah, he's only well, pretty much he's done like that one time, and that's it. He never actually showed up.
which I
But of course,
marked out.
yeah. I mean, I was like, holy shit, he's back. Like they made a good decision of bringing him back. Sure.
I didn't think he was gonna come back.
I didn't think at all. I mean, after that, I mean, of course, he kept talking shit and everything.
Remember,
After
he left on bad terms.
yeah, he left on bad terms, and then they brought him back. That was kind of surprising. I was like, holy shit, that's pretty interesting.
We just have to
But
remember
that's something.
Brett forgave the company and came back.
Yep. Brock had his whole thing with WWE, and they buried that shit. That's one thing too. Um, there's so many other names out there. But what about So that leads us to the Royal Rumble. Who do you think is gonna win the Royal Rumble? And who do you think are gonna be some more surprise entrants?
Who do I think is gonna win the Rumble?
Yep.
Bray.
And what do you think is gonna plan be for him for from now till WrestleMania
Build the title feud.
against what the Universal Champ or the World Champ?
World.
So you're saying probably either AJ or Cena.
AJ.
That'd be cool. Braun versus AJ. What was it called? Bray versus AJ. That'd be pretty interesting. Or what about this?
You just want Braun to win because you've been confusing him and Bray
Oh
Wyatt
my
for
god.
like the
Well,
past
Bray,
half
I'm telling
hour.
you, from the beginning, I love Braun. He kind of what do you call it? He reminded me of the Mountain character from Game of Thrones, kind of like that. Because this guy
Yeah.
can, he's like a super powerful guy. He can do all these kind of things, and it's like, why not have this guy come in and do this kind of thing? He's dope. And then of course you see Vince getting on him and doing all this kind of stuff. It's like, nah, forget it. Never mind. But then of course he's doing all that. But I think pretty much who's gonna win as far as that? I really want to see Dean Ambrose win.
Braun Strowman because you've been saying his name for the past half hour.
Braun Strowman, of course, I'm gonna say Braun Strowman again. But no, I think Dean Ambrose should win because
But
it
do you
makes
see him
sense.
dropping the title then?
He has to. I think he has to because if you think about this, of course, what else?
When? Right
Think
after the
about this.
Rumble?
No, I think before the Rumble, or maybe after the Rumble, it might happen. Because
Because remember,
here's
the
one.
Rumble's in 2 weeks.
Well, here's one thing too. Like, think about this. He goes ahead and let's say he wins the Rumble. He wins the Rumble. Then next thing you know, what's gonna happen? Of course, all three members are on the of Raw. Shield are on the Raw. I mean, yeah, all three members of Shield are on Raw. Of course, you have Roman, the face, the big blue face.
Shield
Rollins,
reunion.
Shield reunion on Raw. That could be something there too. I mean, nonetheless, here's one thing. He's bringing the
Then,
Intercontinental title over. So that kind of brings in some kind of speculation. Okay, what are they going to do?
then here's a
Are they going
question
to
for
bring
you
the
though.
US title?
Dean goes over. Finn comes back. Do you see a Shield versus Club?
Has to. I think that's kind of what they're planning for.
And then
Because
that's a Mania match actually.
that's right. But of course, the person that has the title has to be, a person that wins the Royal Rumble has to be challenging for the title. So it's kind of like Dean. Of course, what's he going to do? He's going to challenge the winner of the Roman versus Owens match. Happen. You never know. It can happen like that. And then, of course, you can bring in, of course, let's say Roman wins the title at Rumble. There's so many ways that can go at it. A triple threat set up for
You know what that
triple
was
threat.
supposed to happen last year?
That was supposed to happen last year. It happened at Battleground, so why not have it happen now at Mania, the big show? And they've been planning it for so many years, so perfect
Since the
time. Why not?
breakup.
Yeah. Well, they can have like a kind of thing where I think that's gonna be a perfect opportunity for them to turn someone else. So, because if you think about it, right now, what do they have so far? All three of them were heel in the beginning. Roman was the first one to turn. Well, actually, All three of them, yeah. First were heels, then they turned face, and then after
They
that they
turned
switched
face
up.
when they defended Jerry Lawler.
Yep. Then after that they turned heel. I think Seth was the first one to turn heel.
Like
Ambrose
a
has never,
like a
yeah,
legit heel was Seth.
yeah, yeah, legit heel with Seth. Roman was becoming like this big baby, big baby face push. Of course, they have
And
Dean
then
just staying.
Dean was the tweener.
Yeah, Dean was like the anti-hero, and then of course they got basically everybody's in their same kind of role.
Dean was
But I
Dean
think
was
at this some
Dean.
point,
Dean didn't give a shit.
yeah, yeah, he didn't give a shit. But here's one thing: I think at some point this is a perfect opportunity for them to make something unexpected happen. Like maybe at some point Roman turns. We've been asking for that for so many years. Get this guy to turn, and everybody's gonna start getting behind him. I
We've
think that's
also
gonna
been
happen.
asking for a Cena turn too.
Yeah, everybody's been asking for Cena turn. It might be this too. Cena wins. He's going around. He's a champ. He brags about it and says, "Oh, I'm the 16-time world champ. I need you motherfuckers. Fuck all
I'm
you." And
better.
then
I'm better than Ric Flair.
I'm better than Ric Flair, etc., etc. Trash talk. And then what happens? Who comes out? Taker. Right there. That's a feud. Because they said I think for so many years now that Taker
That's the
now he's
feud people have been wanting,
yeah,
supposedly.
people wanting that.
That's
I
the
mean,
feud that freaking Kevin Dunn's been wanting.
I
Not
mean
the
that's the
fans.
thing what Vince wants and Kevin Dunn wants.
Not the fans.
Not the fans indeed. But I think Vince truly wants Braun. He wants Braun to fight the Undertaker. And I think all of us are united in saying no, fuck out of here. We're not seeing that
I
shit.
don't want him.
Oh my god, I don't want to see that because it's like Taker's time is running out.
But do you really
Are you
want him to
really
go
gonna?
down against Braun? You want
Yeah,
him to go down against Cena?
yeah. I think they should just have Taker. This year be Taker's last WrestleMania, and that's it. Facing Cena, or Cena beats him, becomes this monster heel. Perfect, great story. That's it. They can continue off of that. They gotta do something. I think they gotta make some more heel turns this year. It's gonna be kind of like how Hogan turned and turned off to the NWO. I think everybody's asking for that. They want that kind of moment now.
He's like another uncle.
But nonetheless, this is the RSN Wrestling Podcast. This is the Mastermind Sal, and we got the other guy, the big guy, Rich.
And in respects of Nick, Nick also said bye, even though he's not with us.
Yep, the Mastermind. Be sure to check out PWO, Pro Wrestling Opinion. You can check
The
that
night that
out.
runs the site.
The night that runs the site, indeed. The Nick Lopez also. So be sure to check that out. Great articles on there, great information. Also check out the Twitter page that Rich runs at RSN
At RSN
Podcast.
Podcast, you have the YouTube page that Sal runs,
Yep.
the Facebook page that
Also,
we both run.
we're gonna have our year in review podcast up sometime soon. Also,
I
in
think
the
it's going to be
following to that, we're gonna
pre-Rumble
have
that we're going to be throwing that show out.
we're gonna have well pretty much this is like the pre-Rumble, I guess, right? Because the next podcast won't be probably after the Rumble, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
So probably this one pretty much like a preview. Next one will be our reaction. So that's something there. But
I
also
mean,
we're gonna
I would
have
like to do the live reaction, but certain company by the name of WWE is a bunch of bitches.
and they like to call us out when we have one little piece of something that sticks out, and they kind of go, "Whoa, you can't do
The
that."
reason why we got taken down was because we showed that it was Bailey debuting as Sasha's partner.
But not even that. Even putting up a simple slideshow with just pictures, like any other wrestling site would just have pictures of matches or whatever taken straight off WWE.com, and they don't get shut down. But we get shut down. It's frustrating. It's frustrating to us. It's frustrating to you, the fans. But nonetheless, we're always here. We'll see you guys out.